Okay, so I want to shoot myself in the face because I recorded an hour-and-a-half video earlier and I just wanted to absolutely off myself. Literally off myself because I was rambling so much. I don't know what to say. I'm not actually suicidal. I just want to put that out there. But I was literally like, holy fuck, it's an hour-and-a-half long. I haven't even got to the point or shown anything cool yet. Okay, so it's happening right now, right? Like, this is the futures. It's below 6,700. VIX is going off the wall. Downside hedging is probably going to begin. Whatever, right? Okay. So when we open up the SPX, probably going to open up in the 6,500 range, right? Because futures versus whatever. Maybe in the morning, the futures comes up. I don't know, but it's going to be between that $6,500, $6,600 range. Do we get the Black Monday sell-off? I honestly don't know. I will say this: I cannot remember a time a market crashed without filling this gap first, besides COVID. This could be a one-off time. Pardon me. I don't know. Okay, but I just say this: anything's possible. Now, what I would like to say to counter that is it very well could just go. It could just go. This is a JP Morgan strikes. These are actually not perfectly accurate. It's like within like a 50-point difference of each now. It's a little bit different. Whatever. Okay, but it's happening, and I said this was going to happen. All right, I was right about the whole thing. I said we weren't getting 7,000 in 2025. I said we'd tap it in 2026 or maybe get there, which we did, right? Perfectly happened. We barely tapped the fucking thing. Didn't even try to stay above it. The most predictable event in the world. We have highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. No one holding at the highs, right? Look how many wicks above we have. A rounding off pattern. God looks terrible. This looks like, if I had to explain this exact pattern, let me turn off the VWAPs here. This exact pattern here, when no one wants to be a buyer with highs, this is like having your like big titty blonde college girlfriend with big blue eyes that you're like cream pieing every night. And then she turns into like a hoe and keeps going to the bar and does a bunch of coke with a bunch of dudes. And you just kind of stall out momentum before you're like, fuck this, I'm out. That's kind of what we're seeing here, right? We're seeing a rounding pattern, okay? What do we notice in previous times? Double top patterns, fail to break out, fail to hold the highs, rounding off. What do we see back here? Same type of shit where you're failing to breach, you're just rounding off and you're setting lower highs and lower lows. What do we see back here? Near equal highs, barely getting lower, warning shots, and then capiche. What do we see back here? Barely making new highs, rounding off, getting lower lows, and failed to breaking out of highs before push. Bunch of higher highs, lower lows, higher highs, lower lows, higher highs, lower lows, down. Every time. Every time. Every time. And. Every time, fellas. When is it going to be different? Probably fucking never. Okay? Anyone who is trying to be bullish in a bearish divergent is out of their mind. Even just looking at the monthly. Wicks, 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 wicks. Wicks. Nobody wants to hold the highs or be a buyer. Why have we been trapped here? This is your March overlay. You can't get past 7,000. Why? What is at 7,000, guys? Why can't you get past it? Okay? Why is 7150 also like this when JP Morgan is right there with their caller? Why are we down now that you've lost 6,800 and ate through most of the wall that was there, and now you're going to be opening below 6,700, which was the last wall? Now you have to start targeting the middle of the collar, which is around here, or the lower half of it. As references. This is going to update when we go into April because the quarterly is going to expire, but let's use this as reference for now. The entire time you have elevated skew, right? The entire time, elevated skew, guys, while the market is pinned and trapped. And read the tweet I put out earlier about markets and how the hedging works. Okay? Read this today. Read this today when you get a chance. Why could you not break out of this? And why is the downside now getting so violent so quickly randomly or mysteriously. I don't know. People are just oblivious to this. And now you have things like oil, which I called in December was building a bull flag to break out. Now you could have looked at prediction markets. You could have looked at oil rising. You could have looked at the headlines, whatever. Prediction markets, I think, were the dead giveaway here that were betting on this, because that's what smart money and real liquidity was moving towards. That's like, how do you explain it? It's, if prediction markets aren't just retail users and it is real smart money in those inflows, you pay attention to that. Same thing when they're betting on elections and polls and all that. You watch where smart money is moving. And without sounding psychotic, I mean, big money runs the world, right? Like, they're going to know. The big boys are going to know, right? What they're betting on or bidding on in terms of risk off. Like, you pay attention to that, right? Now, what happens when oil breaks out, right? What do you get every time? When oil gets stupidly low or stupidly sends, the market does not react nicely to that. Depends on the scenario, why it's rising or why it's not. You know, like there's a lot of variables, you know, or why it goes to zero, like it did in COVID, right? Because of, you know, low demand or whatever. Anytime oil goes parabolic or nukes, that's bad for the market. It was the most predictable thing in the world. Literally the most predictable thing in the world. You could looked at a skew, or you could have looked at skew positioning. You could have looked at why the VIX was creating a higher floor. You could have looked at why yields were starting to catch, like, or not a bid, but I guess an uptrend. It doesn't matter. And this has been setting warning shots for months. And I warned everybody that this was going to happen. From data. Not just from, like, a bold prediction itself. Like, it was a bold prediction, I guess, but... Or looking at credit spreads. Right? Or, like, why metals are sending, or why they were sending, right? Why are the Mag 7 stocks failing to catch a bid? The one stock to rule them all is being trapped below 200. I explained that hedging mechanic on why it would not go above 200. Two earnings reports in a row. 2 in a row. And people are caught off guard to why this is happening, or weren't ready for this. And it's a midterm year in a Republican cycle. Every time this happens, guys, it's never different. Where Republicans start wars, they fuck shit up, inflation goes out the moon. And listen, I don't care who you vote for. That's totally aside. But this is literally how history repeats itself all the time. All the fucking time. And, like, that's what makes good traders stand out from the crowd. You have to look through the lens at things. You cannot be perma-bull, perma-bear, married to your bakes. You have to adapt on the fly and be ready for these scenarios, or you will get absolutely leverage raped. Absolutely. And it's happening. And this is just the start. Like, so for anyone here who's caught off guard or didn't listen or simply just didn't know what they were looking at, if you're new to the space, I mean, you gotta go through some of the other videos and understand trading, or work on your thing, or get some lessons. I don't know, but don't buy the guy with 100K followers course. Okay, but I mean, like, what were you expecting if you were not already taking profits or hedging to downside, right? Credit default swaps on some of the biggest AI players in the space soaring, debts for these companies rising, them lending to each other in a circle. And then you get just the perfect skew, like, positioning combo. I don't know, man. Like, I don't think this goes to zero tomorrow. I will say this. I'll be expecting some circuit breaker days just from historical patterns. But I mean, man, like, failed value breakout for nearly 6 months. 6 months. And not a single daily close above 7,000. And every vol metric in the book was flashing. And it's disheartening to say that. I think a lot of people on the street, well, hold on, let's be careful. Real Wall Street traders obviously wouldn't be talking about this, like real institutional players, because it's kind of, I don't know what I probably shouldn't share, but let's just say this, it's NDA. It's non-disclosure, okay? When crashes like this begin to happen, or at least sell-offs, corrections, however you want to label it, the big boys know. They always know. Okay, they got better systems than your at-home traders. They've been in it for years. Big boys run the show. Okay? But when you get the guys going on CNBC and CBC, fund manager, or like a shitty fund manager, or just basic low-level analysis or whatever, if you're going to listen to that guy, I'd go look up on Wall Street or whatever, like whatever website, and go find out how much that guy makes per year and what his return rate is. Majority of them are like negative 10% or greater, or only make money off trading fees or something. But you notice how no one was really talking about this, and people were only posting the forecasted upwards projections. And now you have retail, again, getting trapped here, people with 401ks. You're hitting the CTA sell-offs, the whole 9 yards. You're going to find dealers heading to the downside, buying VIX futures, you know, because the VIX is going to fucking explode when we open in the markets, right? And again, we've explained inventory and stuff before too, right? We talked about how important 25 was. Talked about how important, you know, the 60 calls were, as well as the next strike being 30 and 35. You get those closes above or under, depending what market you're trading, right? You have to know how dealer mechanics hedging works, how your options are going to work, your IV crush, your thetas, whatever it means at that time, okay? But again, you have all this resistance in an index where everyone's trying to pile in here, but the market can't go anywhere. And we've looked at this too, like back in, great, you guys should watch this video. Go to this video from March 5th. Anyways, you should go to this here from February. You're literally being baited to buy the 7,000 strike. Yeah, I don't know why this won't load. I had it up and now it's just not working. Dan, fix your fucking thing. Anyways. But for months, I mean, I was posting the 7,000 resistance, right? All the way from 7,000 to 7,150. It was not going to happen. Anyone saying that is out of their fucking mind. Especially, like, you just look at something like DJI. It always tops, like, when it goes to the top of that channel. Right? And you're in a midterm year. They're volatile. They're fucking... A lot of times they rug, or they do crazy corrections. So, we're actually kind of close to getting a long signal soon. So I expect some sell-off into maybe the JP Morgan put level, maybe somewhere down at the 5,700 range. I don't know. I actually think you could get a mid-year bounce and rally, which I've been saying will probably happen. Yeah, I haven't missed a beat yet. So I'm just saying I don't actually expect this to go to zero yet. Unless, if we blast through 5,000 for some reason, like the whole 5,000 area, sure, full black swan, whatever. I don't think it happens yet. I really don't. I think the next year and going forward is way worse, personally. All right? If I was to actually call a full top and say we're done, like it's quarter 3, quarter 4, maybe quarter 1 of next year. Or, sorry, this year and next year, I guess that would make sense. Anyways. USD JPY breaking out. What a surprise. Oil breaking out, and yields are starting to, the 2-year, which we talked about on the channel, was going to start breaking out, and this signals to the Fed to raise rates. This could be very bullish to Bitcoin if it goes down to that spot ETF level like I'm predicting. If the Fed has to raise rates and the Clarity Act can pass and they have to buy those stablecoin issuer bills, that could be the most bullish fucking thing in the world for Bitcoin, and it could get some weird neck snapper rally. Okay? Watch this. Because if the Fed has to raise rates, because, you know, oil usually follows the long end of the yields, could be crazy. I want to talk about this real quick. Oh, get off log. Here we go. This is your business cycle. Shout out Ben Cowan. All of them end with recessions. You're probably going to get one this year, maybe next year. Okay? We'll see if Powell actually gets out or worse stays in. You should study how this works a little bit more. I honestly got to run. I got to run soon. I'm doing this video kind of quick. There's a lot going on for me behind the scenes right now. Okay. NASDAQ. Don't touch it. This thing looks like shit. Biggest overhang I think I've seen on this thing in a while. Deadass. I would watch what gas does. Like, gas will be really interesting. I'd watch what US, like the oil, if it keeps breaking out. I expect this thing to keep just ripping for now. I don't think it slows down. Don't stand in front of a moving train trying to short this. Don't. Okay? let it go through a parabolic phase, see if it clears, you know, the 2022 and 20 or 2008 high or something like that. Something like that. Watch for it to clear highs. That's a pretty good God candle there. Watch what it's going to do. This operation is probably going to take out a lot longer than people initially thought. Mag 7s, don't touch them. That's all I want to talk about. Bitcoin. We now have a 5-week composite. So if you guys haven't done this yet, what we'll do, so we'll do this together real quick. Build your 2-day, build your 2-day, and build your 3-day. Okay, so make sure it looks like this on your chart. You got 3-day, 4-day composites, right? What we can do now is go 4-hour here. So this is going to be multi-weeks. You're going to have 5 weeks of data. So you're going to go like this, like this. That's your 3-week. Okay, this looks weird because it's indexed, but if you use the Coinbase chart, it does work. So you're going to go like this. You're going to have a 5-week composite. Still have not reclaimed 30-day VWAP with a weekly close. Sentiment's still bearish. Why? So we have our 5-week composite. And what we'll do is we'll go 30 back down to daily. You got look above and fail to close the weekly below. Your open was below the value area low of this 2-day composite, broke back into value, fell under the previous 3-week and 4-week value area high and composite. Okay, now you have a multi-day composite down here with some single prints. That's your value area high, point of control, value area low. I don't know why this is in here. It should be like that. It's bearish. You've held under all the value. You failed to break it. You failed to reclaim the 30. Okay. On the longer scope of things, I think this is done going up. I don't think you're going to get 76 on the quarterly. You might. But when I look at this and I think, okay, what has it done in previous cycles? 15 to 20% rallies usually from stuff like this. February is usually a low into a March high. Where's February? February is here. March high into bull market resistance band. And yeah, okay. That's pretty common for most of the cycles. Same thing here. Where's March? Here's February low into March high, resistance band, lower, another lower high. So I would just expect some whipsaw. If you're gonna get anything, you're gonna get more chop and whipsaw, or just a bigger capitulation. It's gonna be quick. We'll see. Okay, but there's nothing to do on Bitcoin other than stay short for now. I've scalped my longs. I'm scalped multiple shorts already, and I'm still in one. Okay. I don't know what to tell you guys. This was not the time to be bullish on indexes or anything overly. Let the idiots and bots and algos battle it out here. Okay. I really don't know what to say. Like, this was going to happen. So pre-market means nothing. You know, wait to see what happens in regular trading hours. But I will say this, this is not going to be just a fast recovery in my opinion. I think you're just going to experience a lot of volatility. Okay? Anyways, I got to go. I hope this was a quick Sunday video. But pay attention to oil breaking out and watch the yields. Okay? So that's all I can say. But CTAs are going to begin selling off here. All right. And to look at whale positioning, I mean, sorry, I reset the server today, so the old heat maps aren't here. But I mean, spot's trying to buy right now. It's still negative 250 million. But I mean, shorts are definitely trying to cover here. You know, 6,800 if we think about it, right? Here's our 2-day composite trying to push above. Let's see what the POC is, right? So right around 6,800, not quite, but right around there. Okay, so I'd be looking for crowded shorts to pile in here. See if spot actually truly is going to buy here. I think it's just whatever. It doesn't really mean anything. And when I look at spot, I mean, we blasted through the majority of all of it. There's not much asks above. There's a little bit, but it's mostly all below looking to be filled. The other day, this was all filled up to like 70,000, and now they're all moving down to 60 and 55. Okay, so from a pressure standpoint, maybe it's still to the upside temporarily, at least neutral, right? But I would be surprised to see some of this get pulled out and then price move down. Or sorry, I wouldn't be surprised, to see this get pulled out and move down, or to get some of these filled, or to remove these and have price come lower. CBD I'd actually like to see go up. The other day, they bought, what, 600 mil worth of fucking BDC? And then sold off, like, 1.1 billion worth or whatever the fuck it was. So, the trend right now is still bearish to neutral or right bearish. I guess right now, as I'm speaking, it's, what, it's up by, what, $1,000 or something like that? Yeah, off the low. Yeah, 2,000, $1,000, whatever. 1,500, whatever. Anyways, yeah, that's all I can say about BTC. But man, I mean, I don't think it gets more predictable than that. Like, that was more obvious than shit. Okay, so wait for some long signals to flash, something like that, right? There is, it is kind of close, but I mean, man, you still got a ways if we're gonna get it. And again, the downside acceleration from a market mechanics standpoint, I'm not looking at this. I'm thinking about we've lost 6,700, and next target 64. Below that's 57. All right, so keep that in your mind. But right now, this is either do nothing territory if you're not good at trading volatility, if you're not already positioned beforehand for it, or sit on your hands and do fucking nothing. Wait for some bullish consolidation to take place. Wait for some signals to fire to go long. Sit on your hands if you've already missed out, okay? All right. But I would keep an eye on BTC here with this 5-week point of control and what it does. Maybe we fill the single print, maybe reject off the point of control. I'm not sure. But if I had to guess, it's going to do this and down. That's my guess. All right. So watch how real trading hours happen this week and what they do. Watch real trading hours. Fuck the pre-market right now. I know it looks gruesome. Just wait. Okay, wait before making decisions and just use your heads. That's all I can say. All right. Been Big Trout. I love you guys. Bye-bye.